That's a magic number. Yes, it is. It's the magic number.
What does it all mean?
Hello and welcome to Flintoff, Savage and the Ping Pong Guy. That's me, Matthew Syed. Some more meaty topics. We're going to be putting combinations of two teams together, including Freddie's Ashes squads and Manchester City and Manchester United. Then we're going to reveal what sporting replicas would build in our gardens. Remember, you can use the hashtag FredSavSide to suggest future topics you'd like to hear us talk about. But let's get started straight in with topic number one. We're going to be putting together combinations of sports teams. It'll be controversial when we move on to football, but Freddie, you're going to create your optimum Ashes team by combining the England team from 2005 when you were at the summit and today's team.
Yes, and this is one. This is one which will have people talking. You get asked a lot with the risk of dining out on 2005 yet again. But we're all doing it. I get it another 3 or 4 years out of it. But everyone says who would get in the side now from this current side and who wouldn't, and vice versa.
Great debate.
Brilliant.
And they're going to Australia soon, and we'll see how we go. So I just go into it.
Yeah.
I'll just go into it. Right, number one, opening the batting. The finest batsman I ever played with.
Marcus Trescothick.
Yes, Marcus Trescothick. He is brilliant.
Fantastic.
The one thing about Marcus Trescothick was if he scored runs, England usually won. The way in which he scored them, he took the opposition on, he took it to them, belted them from pillar to post. A great lad in the dressing room
Cook's
as well.
got to be number 2 then.
Can I just ask you on
this team, Rob?
Yeah.
All right.
Look,
I'm not asking for conjecture.
Can I just ask you on
Cricket, this is
Trescothick?
me.
Why do you think he's a bit underrated?
He possibly, but not underrated by the people that he played with. I think subsequently when he went home from a tour and talks about mental health, I think that's overshadowed him a little bit as a cricketer. People tend to remember that rather than this lad who was unbelievable.
Was he a nice guy in the dressing room
One
as
of
well?
the best.
Was he?
One of the best. Lovely, lovely man. Worked with him this year on the T20. Spending time with him was just brilliant. He's still playing. He still plays at Somerset. Just signed another extension on his contract at 41.
What love of the game?
Yeah, and he's playing at second team and things. It's bizarre. So Marcus Trescothick, attacking batsman. Opening up with him, a fellow left-hander, plays very differently. Alistair Cook.
Yeah.
Got
to be.
Statistically, England's best ever Test batsman. The one thing I got right as an England captain, the one thing I actually got right was picking Alistair Cook to play. Level-headed, just churns his runs out. He's had his problems, but he's had such a long career. People are quick to get on Alistair's back when he's not scoring runs, but just a dream to have around as well.
So them two would open the bat instead of who? What names like who could have been in there?
Well, you look at the side now, Andrew Strauss opened the batting.
No Strauss.
Straussy.
But he was brilliant, Strauss.
No Strauss.
Brilliant. No, I won't get a job at the ECB.
I was going to say.
Forget it, Strauss. You're out.
So Strauss, no.
They've got a bit of a pickle, haven't they, at the minute with the opening batsman position. They've got Storman, who I rate, but he's not going to get in.
I'll get in.
But
Just on Cook, you said you brought him into the team. Do you think he changed a lot? What was he like as a fresh-faced youngster coming into the squad?
Well, the one thing I remember about him, Marcus Trescothick went home from India in really fast. It happened. Nobody knew what had gone on. We're looking at people to bring in. Alistair Cook had been around the side a little bit against Pakistan on tour, didn't play. And he was in the West Indies on an England Air tour. And he flew back about 48 hours, getting flights, landed on the morning or the night before the test started. And Duncan Fletcher wanted to pick Matthew Pryor. And I said, no, Alistair Cook's playing. I put my foot down for once. I want Alistair Cook playing. And he asked why. I've never seen him play. I've never seen him play. I've seen him in the nets.
You had a gut feel for him?
I had a gut feel as a lad, at that age, at 22, whatever he was, maybe even younger. He was so impressive and the type of lad I wanted in the side. And he went out, the first innings got 40, second innings got 100.
Wow.
Too easy.
Wow.
So that's an opening lineup. Trescothick, Cook.
You writing this down?
Yeah, number 3. Yeah, thanks, Rob. He's taken over.
All right.
Number 3.
Oof.
Yep.
What's between? Some big number 3s.
Do you know what? The main thing is, it's not who it's between, it's should he bat at number 3.
Right.
And I think, yes, he's amazing. He is now the current Test captain of the England team, Joe Root. Now, this lad, he amazes me. The way in which he goes about his business, the way in which he bats, he goes out there, he takes the opposition on. You look at the scoreboard, he's on 40 or 40 balls and he's not done out.
Yep.
And
Won a ball.
Won a ball. Well done, Rob.
Mathematics.
But
Genius.
The one thing I really like about him is every time he plays, he looks like he's having the best day of his life.
Yeah.
And I've heard stories from Neil Fairbrother who looks after him and he was going to Lords and he phones him up saying, I can't believe it. I'm going to play
Really?
for England at Lords.
Still now?
Yeah, he loves
Wow,
it.
amazing.
But my only,
Reservation?
not a reservation, but where I'm stuck a little bit is, do I make him captain?
Yeah.
Because number 4,
Uh-huh.
I'm putting in Michael Vaughan.
Body,
Oh,
Michael Vaughan. England captain, played under him. Not sure he should be captain in this side.
Is he a number 4? Was he a number 4?
He is now.
What was he?
Well, he used to bat in the top 4.
Did he?
He batted 3 for a bit. He opened the batting. He's batted 4. He's a brilliant player. He had that tour of Australia where nobody did anything. He scored lots and lots of runs. Scored runs in 2005. Led the team so well. And Joe Root is actually from the same club. Phones him up for advice.
Does he?
So I don't know which one to go as captain. I'm going to come back to that, whether I go Root or Vaughan.
Just one thing on Root. I think it's a really interesting point psychologically that he goes and plays cricket under pressure with a sense of joy and adventure and courage. How do you think it's difficult to get young people into that frame of mind with all the scrutiny from the media, the consequences if things go wrong? How does he get into that place?
I think the only way he can do that is remember the reasons he started playing cricket in the first place. And as a kid, you grow up watching international cricket. You watch playing for England. And as a kid, you think, how good must that be? That must be brilliant.
Yeah.
And he's managed to take that through. Even when he walks out to bat, every time he walks, he's got purpose. He's a bit of a funny walker, but there's a real spring in his step, isn't it? He's up for it.
Do you know, imagine if Ramprakash and Hick had that attitude.
Graham Hick was good.
You know what I mean?
Amazing.
They look so fearful on the crease. If they could have played with that liberation.
I
they would have been-
had a conversation with Graham Hicks. I'm a big fan of Graham. And
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Great fella. He's not the most exciting, but he's a lovely lad. And I had a chat with him at the end of his career in Sri Lanka. And we sat at the bar, I was having a few beers, and he was telling me about his career. And looking back, the one thing he says he wished he'd have done was being authentic all the way through.
Exactly.
He said he got so much advice, told he couldn't play the short ball, told how to stand, told where to play. He could play the short ball, he could do anything.
Yeah.
And he said at the end of it, he wished that
It's interesting.
he would have done it his way. Failed or succeeded
Yep.
as him.
Yeah.
Because now he's got them unanswered questions.
I think authenticity is so an important part of high performance. I think it's difficult to be authentic when the pressure comes in. But
Well, here
that's
comes to my next one then. Love
Go
him
on,
or loathe
number
him.
5.
He is authentic. It's Big Kev. It's the Big Show.
Oh.
Kevin Peterson, ladies and gentlemen, coming to a ground near you soon. We're not
Peterson
quite
at
sure
5.
what kit he's going to be in, but he's going to be there. And things will happen.
But
Kevin Peterson.
what if he misbehaved in the build-up to the match?
I can handle that. I can handle Kev misbehaving. I'd be more worried if he's behaving. There's be something that's wrong. But Kevin,
What a player.
he came into the side, the one-day side in South Africa. I went home and I watched him on telly score 100 after 100. The crowd in South Africa in the one-days were standing round, not clapping him, turning his back on him. He then came into the one-day squad before Australia, belted him round everywhere. And then in the first test of 2005 was a turning point for the team. Kevin scored runs nobody else did. And I think that gave us belief in which, subsequently what's happened after, I'm not bothered. But as a player, I want him.
Do you think, this is difficult, psychologically, do you think there are flaws in the Peterson character?
What do you reckon? Yeah, of course there are.
But there's an
There's
argument.
flaws in everyone. I think, do you know,
But are they so deep that it takes a miracle of leadership to galvanise him in the right way?
I don't think it's a miracle of leadership. I think it's a miracle to solve them.
Yeah.
But the thing with Kevin is, for all his bravado and all this up front and at you, I think underneath there's quite a little bit of insecurity. And that's his way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to judge him on that. Fine.
Before we go anywhere else,
Yeah.
he won't put himself in it.
Oh, I have.
Oh!
Don't worry about that, son. Bennu? Stokes? Really?
That's Robbie. Not bad, is it? Number 6.
Number 6. Oh, there's been talking. Should he be playing? Shouldn't he be playing? Ben Stokes, just brilliant. Brilliant. I'm not going to get in. We did what happened off the pitch last week. This is just about him as a cricketer.
Yep.
He's just brilliant. He could bat number 3 in any team in the world. His bowling's getting better and better all the time. Fielding, unbelievable. But he's got that quality where I don't think he'd ever be a captain or ever be a good captain. But through the way in which he is, the way in which he plays, he leads. He leads the team.
Do you think this concept of a talisman is meaningful? That you have somebody like Stokes and his bravado and courage, it can be contagious. Other people feed off it. It grows the team.
Because I realised that as a player. I realised that my mood could bring a dressing room up, but it could also bring one down.
Yep.
And that's something that Ben has got to be aware of all the time.
Interesting.
So Ben Stokes, brilliant. Now the next one is the wicketkeeper. I feel I should put Geraint Jones in because I love Geraint Jones.
Yep.
And I batted with him in 2005. We turned matches. The runs he scored were important. He was a decent glove man. Mm-hmm. But there's one lad playing in the England side now who I think is just brilliant. Johnny Burstow. This lad, he came into the side originally. Everyone said he couldn't do this. He couldn't play the short ball. He goes away to Yorkshire, scores runs after runs after runs in every form of the game. Comes back in the England team. Look at Johnny Burstow's runs when he scores them. He scores tough runs. He scores important runs. Puts the side in a position where they can win or get them out of a bit of a hole. And the way in which he does it is brilliant. And he's still not number 1 on the team sheet for T20s, for one-day internationals. For me, Johnny Burstow all day long.
Okay.
And then the next one, coming in, batting out of position.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to put myself in.
You have to.
You got to.
But I want to play in this team. I want to be in this team. I want to play with these lads.
Go on, speak about yourself.
Well, defied logic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for an overweight ginger, unathletic.
With giganticism.
Giganticism, as Robbie says.
Yeah.
Everything backing against it. Growing up in Preston.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to play cricket. And I wasn't as good as these guys, don't get me wrong. I'm not after you saying that, but I had a way of doing it, and I survived on bravado, and I had a good year in 2005, so I'm just putting myself in there. I'm going to bat out of position for the good of the team.
Do you think that you grew on the big occasion?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, man.
They chose
the Viagra front page story in the Sun was a giveaway.
Probably doubled in size.
But you like the big stage, the big occasion. The Ashes, the ultimate for any England cricket player playing against Australia in the Ashes is bigger than anything else.
And I think for that reason, that's why I put myself in. Because I don't want to miss out.
You are in it.
I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch it. But I'm going to dust over me.
Number 9.
So, number 9. I can't believe I'm batting 8, though.
Is that 8? I thought it was 9.
Number 8. I'm batting. I'd be gutted.
So we're into the tail now.
Your top heavy batters batting. I think
we've got 2 bowlers
2 great
in there.
bowlers already.
We've got me
of course.
and Stokes in there. Joe Root can twiddle a few.
Yeah.
Now, the next one, I'm going to put a spinner in. I need a spinner.
Yeah.
Scott,
And-
I know what you mean.
At the minute, Moeen Ali is brilliant. He's got better and better and better. He comes in at number 8. He scores runs, but I don't need that in this team. I don't need Moeen Ali's off spin, and I don't need a batsman at number 9.
Yeah.
What I need a bowler who's going to control things for me. When the seamers need a rest, when there's a bad end to bowl at, I need someone in the first innings to plug an end up. Mm-hmm. Just go 1 and over, 1.5 and over, and come into the game second innings. And the bloke who did this so well, without recognition, being called all the time, he's negative, he's this, that. Whoever said that, go and do your own work. Because Ashley Giles, to me, was one of the most important players in that team. We had 4 seamers in 2.
King of Spain.
King of Spain. They printed his name wrong on a mug at Warwickshire. Should have said King of Spin.
Yeah.
And they put King of Spain.
That's what it
true
was.
story. So Ashley Giles for me was so important for myself, Steve Harmison, Matthew Hoggard, and Simon Jones.
Yeah.
And in the dressing room, brilliant.
Ashley Giles.
Great lad. He scores runs. He gets runs when it counts.
Yeah.
So Ashley Giles in at 9. Number 9.
10.
England's best ever bowler. The Burnley Express.
Jimmy Anderson.
How can a man from Burnley end up with 500 Test wickets? You say coming from Preston defies belief, and I was all right. But this lad's a great of the game.
Yeah.
He learnt his trade at the back of Turf Moor.
Yeah.
This is just bonkers. I remember him. He came in as a 17-year-old to Lancashire in the nets. This young, quick bowler hitting everyone on the head and in the ribs, thinking, how good is this? And every level he went into, he started to excel as a young kid. And And it's not been without his problems. He tried to change his action, do this, that, and the other. But now Jimmy's settled to what Jimmy does best. Absolutely brilliant.
How do you explain his longevity? How did he stay at that level for so long?
You look at his physique. You look at him. You look at his physique. He's wiry, he's strong, but not carrying weight. His desire as well.
Did that desire translate into the way he trained and prepared as well?
Yeah, he likes to drink. Don't get me wrong, but when he's on it, he is on it. He trains hard. He practices hard. He's always thinking about bowling. You came round the other week to our house, didn't you, for Sunday lunch?
Yeah.
And you commented on it.
I
Glenn
said
Chappell,
Fred,
Jimmy Anderson, Robbie Savage, and
I said to Fred, we were sitting there. We had
it was like the worst come down with me ever.
Honestly, we had Sunday lunch, right? All the kids were playing sport in the garden.
Who cooked?
Rachel, his wife.
I did the meat.
Yeah, he did the meat. Fantastic.
What was it?
My mum went round.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. It was
What was the roast? What was it?
Beef. Roast
beef.
Just did it a little bit over. It should have been a bit pinker, but it was all right.
Brilliant.
Wow.
They're all sitting there. I said to Fred, so the next day I said to Fred, I said, I can't believe Glenn Chapwell and Jimmy were sitting at the kitchen table, have a couple of beers, and all they were doing, every time I went to the kitchen, because I was like up and down, they were talking cricket. And Glenn was up doing bowling actions, Jimmy was doing the same, and all they done for 3 or 4 hours, I'm not lying, was talked cricket. It was unbelievable.
And Robbie was at other end talking Love Island. Just goes to show.
False tan and
highlights
with
it all the time.
Honestly, all the time.
In the dressing room, would you have certain players whose passion for the game was so much that was the regular talk? I mean, you've mentioned Anderson. Was that true of other players in England?
Trescothick.
Same.
Trescothick, the ultimate pro. And I felt for Marcus a little bit because, you know, he's not built, he's not ripped, he's not got the abs and all that. But he works so hard. Yeah. He was practicing all the time. Marcus Trescothick.
This is a hell of a team, right?
Yeah.
So we got the last one.
Oh, it's obviously, it's the England and Wales cricket board. There's got to be a Welsh guy in there.
Who?
Simon Jones. Why have my voice gone out?
It's turned into a soprano.
You know what? I would love to.
Mate, come on. He swung the ball like I've never seen.
It's England and Wales cricket, boy. It's just being PC. Anyway.
Don't put your mate in. No, you can't put your mate in.
For me, it's tricky because I'm thinking about who could play.
Who was there?
The reason I've not put Darren Goff in.
Goff?
He didn't play in 2005.
Yeah.
But I love Goffey. Brilliant.
Fair point.
Brilliant Goffey. The other one I could put in is Simon Jones. Not got him.
Broad,
England's second
You're
highest
wicket
wicket taker of all time.
Going for your mate.
Stuart Broad's
not
in.
Uh-huh.
Matthew Hoggard in the top 10 England wicket takers. Not in.
Go for your mates, yeah.
What?
Go for your mates.
Who is it then?
I don't know. You got lots of mates.
Who is it?
It's not Army.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Do you know what? For this very reason, Stephen Harmison. One, as a team man, he should have spent more time on himself than he did on other people. He was always there for everyone else. Should have spent more time on himself. A little bit more selfish. As a bowler, I tell you what, I've never seen anything like it. I used to stand at slip to this lad when he was on it. And you can have your Ambroses and your Walshes and all these people. Give me Steve Harmison any day of the week. I have seen him torment people. I have seen him put fear in the eyes of the world's best bowlers. And like Marcus Trescothick...
Best batsman.
Yeah. Sorry, his batsman. Like Marcus Trescothick, for these same reasons, if he's bowling well, England win. If Marcus Trescothick scoring runs, England win. And being an all-rounder, and we've got a few in that middle order. If Trez starts off like he does, then our job in the middle is so much easier. If Harmy starts off the way in which we know he can do, my job coming on first change, Ben Stokes' job, is so much easier.
What a team that is.
So that is my team.
And so let's run through it. Trescothick,
Cook, Vaughan,
Root.
Which either way around. Peterson, Stokes, Burstow, Flintoff, Giles, Anderson, Harmison. And I've got to make a decision on the captain.
Yep.
There's no Strauss, Hussein.
Hussein?
Goff.
I don't want someone who drinks. I can get my own drink out of the fridge, master. So, do you know what?
Captain.
You're
going Root, I feel it.
I don't think I can.
Oh, you're going Vaughan.
Yeah, I think because I played under him, I have to. He got the best out of me as a player.
Let me just ask you briefly on how important is chemistry in a team environment like that. You've got a group of totally different characters. I mean, real variation.
What's a team that is?
But a brilliant team. Wonderful complementary strengths as well. How important is the chemistry and a tour to Australia?
Yeah, I think the one thing you need from a team is you need that togetherness. And I accept that looking at all these people, there are some strong characters in that dressing room. You got Peterson, you've got Vaughan, you got Stokes, you got myself. So I don't care if everybody don't get on. I'm not after like the world's best dinner party. I'm not on about holding hands and singing. I'm on about playing cricket. So some of them will get on better than others. Some of them won't even speak. Some of them won't do anything together. But as long as when they walk out on that pitch, we're all together, which, looking at them names, we will be.
You're giving the talk before they go out for the first test. What do you say?
I don't have to say anything to
You're not going to invite... Who was it that you had come up? Ian McGeechan, wasn't it?
Ian McGeechan or Stevie Redgrave. No, thanks, Ed.
Tell you, that was my favourite line of the entire series last time was one about the cocks in a vote.
But if you look at that side there's nothing I need to say to him. And I appreciate that everyone will have their different motives. Kevin Peterson's motives for doing well might be different to Michael Vaughan's and Ashley Giles. I don't care. As long as the motives are to do well, let's crack on and just... We'd hammer anyone that too.
Did Graham Swan not play in the 2005? No.
He was
Graham
good.
Swan.
Yeah.
He wasn't in it.
Yeah.
Big name.
I thought that's what you were going to say when you went for Giles.
Graham Swan.
Ashley Giles every day of the week.
Really?
Wow. There you go. What a team.
What was the one that you struggled with most leaving out? Who was the person that it hurt you to leave out?
Strauss is a big one, though.
I'll get over that.
Hoggett?
I'm really well with Strauss. The hardest ones for me were the bowlers. Because I appreciate there are better bowlers probably individually than the four we played in 2005.
Yeah.
But collectively, that was our strength.
Yeah.
Not as individuals, but a collective strength.
Well, that's brilliant. If you want to suggest alternative people in the lineup, do use the hashtag FredSavSide. Be fascinating to see the views out there. Now, Robbie, what are you going to combine?
Just quickly, we'll do a quick. I'll be quick. Manchester City and Manchester United. For me, it's a 2-horse race for the title this year.
This is a current squad.
They play each other in December. If everybody was fit in both squads, what would the combined team be? Of the Manchester 11.
Can I just throw in as well?
Of course you can.
Who would manage it?
It's a very good point, Andrew.
Oh, yeah.
Because mine, I just thought off the top of my head.
Yeah.
David Bumble Lloyd.
Would manage yours?
No, there's nobody else even in the running.
Really?
Nobody in the running. That David Lloyd will get the best out of every one of them blokes. I don't need a coach. I don't need someone to tell me how to hold a bat. I need someone to motivate and speak and be passionate and be himself. David Lloyd.
Right, brilliant. And I agree with that, Andrew.
And actually, it makes it really interesting for this one. Guardiola or Mourinho.
Oh, yes.
So on the Manchester, the best team out of the two squads in Manchester, I think one of them's going to win the league. I think it's a 2-horse race. Give them one of the title now. I'm not sure if it's United or City. But in terms of squads, who would be in my starting 11? Right, current squads. First and foremost, David De Gea, best goalkeeper in the Premier League. City have had problems with goalkeepers, spent X amount of pounds. They've got Bravo, they've got Edison. Edison's brave, good keeper, but I'm not sure he beats De Gea. So David De Gea.
What happened to him with short sleeves? Is he still about?
That was Bravo, he's on the bench, for City. Then you've got, what do I play? I'm going to play 4 at the back. What formation? With this team I'm going to put out, doesn't matter what system we play, we'll beat anybody. So, at the back, right back, choice between Valencia, Kyle Walker. I'm going to go Kyle Walker. Yeah. I think just over Valencia, his athleticism, brilliant.
They're both good at bombing forward.
Both good at getting forward. Defensively, both aren't great.
Yeah.
But I think the modern day fullback, up and down with the protective midfielders, I'm going for Kyle Walker. Centre halves, if he can stay fit, Vincent Kompany, he'll be my captain, he'll be my leader. He's had lots of injury problems, can't get a run of games. But as we're doing, the best team of the two current squads, Vincent Kompany plays centre half along with Eric Bailly. Bailly done well since he's coming to Manchester United. Them two together would be a very good combination. And left back. Left back's a huge problem. I've got Mendy, the new signing, but he's out for for 9 months, so I'm going to rule him out.
Okay.
He would probably be in the starting 11, but as he's out for 9 months, no. Then you've got Blind, you've got Ashley Young, you've got Luke Shaw. Because there's a 4 at the back, I'm going to go Ashley Young, which might be a bit surprising to people. His cap, Jose Mourinho seen him fit enough to give him the captain's armband on games. He's got great energy, so I'm going to go Ashley Young, and that might be.
What about the defensive ability of him?
Yeah, it was a big question, but Jose Mourinho, who knows more about football than me, seems to trust him at left back. And Jose Mourinho we'll come on to later.
Will Pep Guardiola trust him at left back?
I think he would as well, because the way his team plays, he likes people who are expansive and get forward.
He
so
takes risks.
I'm going Ashley Young as left back. Then I'm going to Diamond in midfield.
Yep.
I'm going Matic. Fred and Diamond, so it's like a diamond.
I get what a diamond is, bro. You can do the Christmas tree if you want. Don't worry about this, Robbie Savage.
There you go.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
A footballer explaining something to someone. I know what a diamond is. Oh, man, Rob.
So I'm going to Diamond.
You used to have them in your ears.
I did 3. I'm going Matic.
Did you have 3?
I had 3, yeah. I had 2 in me, 1 in each ear at the bottom, and then I had 1 at the top in that bigger bit of the ear.
When did you get rid of him?
Oh, ages ago, years ago. Anyway, Matic, I thought he has been magnificent.
He's a brilliant player.
Brilliant player, strong, aggressive, composed. And then to the right of him, I think they're currently the best midfielder in the world.
Oh,
Kevin De Bruyne.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
In terms of current form, I said when he first signed for Manchester City, I wouldn't pay to watch him. I get hammered. People
you did, didn't you?
Didn't
you say that? Didn't you say that?
Yeah, I did say it. Yeah, he was probably 50 million quid. Come from Germany after leaving Chelsea.
But he was already a magnificent playmaker in his previous club. Why did you react
but he was playing the Bundesliga, Matthew. It's not that with the exception of Dortmund and Munich. If you Name me 10 Bundesliga teams now.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So it's not the strongest league in the world, is it? Yes, he was brilliant, but when he comes to this back to this country, I said in a list. But I've got to say, the list I was given of the players, there was 10. There was Ronaldo. Remember the Brazilian Ronaldo? Yeah. There was Cristiano Ronaldo. There was Messi. There was Ronaldinho. Rivaldo. So on this list, Kevin De Bruyne was at the bottom of most expensive transfer fees. Yeah. And I said, out of that list, he would be the last one I'd pay to watch. I wouldn't pay to watch.
But having said that, in your defence, it's good now that you can.
Admit them wrong. I would.
Many wouldn't.
Yeah, I think at this moment in time, he is absolutely magnificent. And this type of midfield player where he can score a few goals, maybe he needs to score a few more, but his passing ability, he sees a pass before anybody else. People will say about, like Iniesta, Toni Kroos, all these players, but I'm going to go Kevin De Bruyne on the right as, for me, at this moment in time.
At this moment, he's not on the all-time list.
No, at this moment in time, and I watch a lot of football, I would say his impact on the game, where it's an assist, where it's...
Have you seen him?
That young-looking kid with ginger hair.
He looks a bit like you, actually. He looks a bit like
like a scaled-down version.
And you're called Kevin in your musical. Anyway, you look like Kevin De Bruyne.
But it's marvellous, the patterns that he sees and how he unlocks other players. There's a beauty in the geometry. Go on then.
So Matic, Kevin De Bruyne, then I'm going Pogba.
Yeah.
I'm going Pogba, £89 million. He was having a fantastic season until he got injured in his hamstring. People hammer him because of his transfer fee, but if you're looking at £89 million now, the way he was playing this season, that was a bargain. When you see other transfer fees, Pogba, and then at the tip of the diamond, right, this is where it gets interesting. You've got Mkhitaryan, who's great. You've got David Silva. You've got Bernardo Silva. Yeah. You've got... I'm going to go with David Silva.
Yeah, for sure.
David Silva, brilliant on the ball, can see a pass. His link-up play with my 2 up front would be amazing. The 2 up front, I'm going Aguero and Lukaku. I think that is an unbelievable side. That side would walk the Premier League. Leaving out Rashford, leaving out Martial, leaving out Mkhitaryan.
You know the funny thing about you doing that team?
Yeah.
Well, I've done my cricket team and a few ruffle feathers. Oh, I'd have picked him. But you'll get hammered for this.
But I don't...
If you start picking United and City...
Yeah,
I've heard him talk about it in the gym over coffees, like old fellas.
Yeah.
And it's just a bizarre thing, isn't it?
I'd done it in my newspaper column, but I'd done it, long-term injuries wouldn't get in.
Yeah.
This was for the game in December, so I didn't have Vincent Kompany in. Although I explained in my newspaper column he would be in it, but he can't stay on the pitch long enough to get in it. But now we're doing it as if everybody was fit.
Yeah.
Vincent Kompany would be in it.
But it's a wonderful synthesis. You've got strength, you've got brilliant defensive
That team wins the
midfielder.
league. That team wins the Champions League.
You've got subtlety, you've got flair. I think that's a brilliant line.
That team wins the Champions League.
Who's the manager?
How many we got from each team, by the way, in the overall lineup? How many from United and how many?
David De Gea,
That's
Bailly, Ashley Young, Pogba,
Lukaku.
Lukaku.
So it's 5 from United, 6 from City.
Yeah.
Who's the manager?
The manager is Jose Mourinho.
Oh! But what about the flair of Guardiola and the wonderful passing that he brings to it? Mourinho can be so dispiriting.
Question I'll ask you, the question I'll put out there, yeah. Could Pep Guardiola have won the Champions League with that Porto side and that Inter Milan side that Jose had?
I actually think both of them are overrated.
Ooh.
What?
I think they're both overrated. I think
They're
for
both
me,
overrated.
I think they're both overrated as managers. Guardiola inherited a Barcelona side with a galaxy of stars, an extraordinary group of people, and he didn't have to work his way up through the lower divisions to get to the elevated position in the world game that he now has. And when it comes to Mourinho, for me, one of the great qualities of the great managers is creating dynastic success, long-term success, having a squad and then rebuilding the way that, guess who? Sir Alex Ferguson did so well at United. Mourinho goes into the third season. Chelsea were an absolute catastrophe. He alienated his players at Real Madrid. His tendency to fall out with
He's
people.
overrated.
Yeah. He's not a patch on Alan Pardew.
Matthew, I've got to say,
That's
Matthew,
a manager, Alan Pardew. Could have done any of that. Pardew.
You coming up with he's overrated, Mourinho, is the most nonsense thing I've ever heard in my life.
Overrated relative to people saying
You didn't say that. You said overrated.
Well, obviously, it's relative to how people rate him. I think people rate him more. I wouldn't put
He's
him on
won
the
the
same
Champions
level.
League with Porto.
I'm not saying he's.
He won the Champions League with overrated.
I'm not saying he's a bad manager. I'm not saying he's a bad manager. He's obviously a good manager. He's achieved great things.
Well done.
I'm
Good
saying
manager.
he's not in the same class as Ferguson. He's not in the same class as Rinus Michels. He's not in the same class as Clough. He's not in the same class as Jock Stein. I think these are better managers than Mourinho. The thing that, Cloughie.
Really?
I tell you one of the reasons, by the way, is his personal behaviour. The way that he poked the eye of the Barcelona coach.
You're saying personal behaviour. What about Brian Clough? He wasn't exemplary, was he? Had a shocker at Leeds as well.
Yeah, I'm not keen on Clough's behaviour either, to be honest. But I'm not.
So what are you saying?
I'm not saying that he's a bad manager.
And Fergie in some press conferences.
Yeah, sure.
So you can't dig out Mourinho for being a bit like he is, and other managers have done not the same. But
Ferguson, some of his behaviour, I've written many columns about it, and I don't.
But it's okay
admire
for
the
him
way
because
he,
you
no,
like.
But I think that the strength of Ferguson was his ability to create a club that was able to win over the long term, to inspire the players in a way that gave them the passion for the club, the philosophy of the club. He talked about the history of the club.
Isn't it changed, Matthew?
Mourinho,
it's a short term now for the manager. You won't see him manager. I think gone are the days of Fergie managing for 26 years. Wenger, was it 20, 21 years? You won't see it.
I think
you won't see it. You won't
Didn't one
see
of you
it.
guys say that Guardiola was overrated?
What?
Didn't one of you on a previous podcast say
did you
Guardiola was overrated?
Oh, look at me, what me?
What?
I don't know him from a bar of soap.
You did, didn't you?
I haven't commentated on overrated. What I would say, I'm with you a little bit on Guardiola in terms of he inherited the Barcelona squad, which is amazing, the Bayern Munich squad, which is amazing. But I think Pep Guardiola doesn't care what we think. And he is obviously a fantastic manager.
Mourinho going so pear-shaped at Real Madrid in all of his previous teams in the third, fourth season. He can't keep the squad together. Look at Chelsea.
Overrated,
There's a very strong correlation between how much you spend on wages and where you finish in the league. In Mourinho's third season, they were like 8 places lower than they should have been. It was a ridiculous... their points total was further down than it should have been in relation to the amount they were spending on wages than almost any other team in Premier League history. If he's such a great manager, why can't he have long-term success?
Well, might be he wins the title where most places where he goes.
And the long-term issue?
Well,
that's not irrelevant to you.
But no, because
then he gets a massive payout.
All right, he's at Manchester United now. He's at Manchester United. What if he doesn't win the league this year and doesn't win a trophy? Pressure's on straight away. If he has a bad start next season, he's out. So how can he look beyond years? Your comment there of Mourinho as overrated is the worst thing you've ever said. Are you going to stand by it? Are you going to write a column on it? I want to see a column in your paper. Mourinho's overrated. You haven't got the balls to do it.
What do you mean? I've read many a column on Mourinho.
You haven't got the balls. You
What?
haven't got the balls, mate. Scared to death.
Mourinho?
Scared to death.
I've written many a column saying that I think Mourinho is overrated. And how can you possibly say that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever written?
Ridiculous. Well,
Most of the things I say on these podcasts are ridiculous.
I want to see a column then off you, putting your name to it, saying Mourinho was overrated. They were your words.
Oh, what, you think I'll say it on the podcast, but not in a column?
Yeah, you haven't got the balls.
I didn't know. We'll have to see, won't we?
What do you mean?
Okay, shall I do mine?
No. What's the most you can have? 1 or 2 people playing table tennis. Right? Me and Des Douglas. Right, there we go. Moving on. Next subject. Right. What are you going to pick an 11-man squad for ping pong?
Oh, man.
What is yours anyway?
So mine is.
it?
I'm not doing. I was going to do the joint Sweden and China table tennis team since 1979, but I'm going to go into Carl Breen. Where'd you dig these out from? Give me 2 other.
Knowledge.
Give me 2 other table tennis players.
It's not my game. It's yours. Come on, move on.
Okay. So I'm going to do. This is going to be controversial.
Oh.
Since the start of the Premier League, what would be the combined team for Manchester United and Liverpool?
Good one.
And I'm going to go 2 of the iconic teams in football history. I'm going with the following lineup. In goal, unquestionably, for me, the best goalkeeper in the history of the Premier League and one of the best of all time, possibly the best.
Bruce Gobler. No.
Good knowledge, Fred. Good knowledge, Fred.
Peter Schmeichel.
Agree.
Yeah.
Left back, one of the most underrated players
Steve
in Premier
Nicol.
League history. Fantastic player. I'm going Dennis Irwin. Centre backs, Rio Ferdinand and Jaap Stam.
I'm going to pull you on that. What about Pallister and Bruce?
Very good. Very good players.
Good knowledge, Andrew.
No, I used to like them too.
Yeah. Good.
Do you know Steve Bruce?
Right back.
Couldn't be allowed near a tracksuit though. Didn't like Garth Crooks on a tank top. Don't let him wear them. Don't let him wear them.
So, midfield.
Hang on,
Who's right back?
Gary Neville. Yeah. So far, all Manchester United. The midfield, David Beckham, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, and I'm torn on the other between Gerrard and Keane, but I'm going for Gerrard. Up front, Cantona and Ronaldo.
Right.
Mate, I can't believe you put Gerrard. You said you weren't putting Gerrard in.
The reason I put Gerrard in is because Stan's face when I mentioned that I was going all
Hang on a minute.
Let me just say
Can we just say this?
Yep.
Before this podcast, you've said outside to myself, Stanley and Fred, you said, I'm not putting Steven Gerrard in. And you've just put him in.
I'll tell you what, I think when you look at the abilities and the qualities he brings to a team and how he managed to turn it around with the help of some of his teammates in Istanbul, when you think of the last-minute goals he scored, the super heroic way that he went about his business. I think it's...
Are you after an interview?
By the way, I've got to tell...
Is this where this is going? You're after an interview?
So is he in the team or not?
He's in. And I
the only Liverpool player in the
only
team.
Liverpool. And let me
I
say
believe
this.
he got one in. I'm sorry.
Can I explain why? Can I explain why?
You're going to have to.
Liverpool, they've never won the Premier League. Manchester United have dominated the Premier League. If it was a joint team from the 70s and 80s, it would be almost all Liverpool. Hansen, Emlyn Hughes.
Point, yeah.
It would have
Ray Alton.
Clements in goal. Tommy Smith, Souness, Dalglish, Keegan, Ian Rush. Liverpool was the best team in Europe in the 70s and 80s. They have not managed to bring that to the Premier League. And that's why I think anyone who has anything more than one Liverpool player are doing it because they don't want to be controversial.
Well, you didn't have any before, but you just...
Yeah, I admit, I caved a little, but with real integrity, I think Gerrard does.
What about Fernando Torres when he was at Liverpool?
No chance.
Instead of who?
No
Hang on, it's your
Not
midfield
even
four.
close.
Your midfield four. Giggs left.
Yeah,
Gerrard, Scholes.
yeah, Beckham.
No Keane.
Yeah, Keane I left out for Gerrard. And that's a difficult one because Keane was a fantastic player. I mean, you think about that second leg against Juventus in '99, one of the best performances I've ever seen.
This is the top two now.
Suarez, him with teeth. What about him? He was good, wasn't he?
Close. I think he's a brilliant player.
Who's
But
in then? Who's the top?
This is top
for
two.
me, these two are marvellous, brilliant players, almost indescribably good. Cantona and Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo.
As a centre forward.
What, these two at the front?
Yeah.
You don't think so?
Ronaldo played on the right.
Oh, but you could have him
Instead
up
of
in the top.
Beckham.
You could have him in the top two.
So you're going to go with David Beckham in the side ahead of Cristiano Ronaldo.
No,
Hey,
Ronaldo's in.
Bex isn't leave that out,
but
is he? What if he does a follow-up book? He'll want to write that as well, won't he? Oh,
Hang on.
Never mind. We talked about sellouts last week. Reality TV, you're the worst. You're the
I
worst.
rate
Basically-
Beckham.
so
Beckham's a
basically-
fantastic.
Because you want to do another
He'll be
book
opening
from
a
David
box on the
Beckham.
telly next
That
week.
is outrageous.
Yes, because you want to do another book from David Beckham. You have put Ronaldo out of position. He either plays on the left or the right. Okay, occasionally now he'll play in a set and forward position, but the majority of his career in the Premier League and for Real Madrid, he's played on the left or the right of a 4 or a 3. But yet you've put him up front so you can get David Beckham in the team. That's a nonsense decision. Once again, you're having a shocker today. You have to put Ronaldo on the right. Ronaldo's got to be on the right. You can't put David Beckham ahead. You can because that's your choice. So you're going to play Ronaldo
Beckham.
out of position.
Beckham for me
Wasn't a great player.
He was an absolutely fantastic
Brilliant
player. A fantastic player. I watched all of for the book.
Fantastic
I went
player.
and watched the 98-99 season.
Fantastic
I got
attitude, fantastic trainer.
Yeah, and you know it's interesting when he
Have
went.
you got a
over-
man crush on him? Have you got a crush on him?
I admire him
Yes
as
or
a
no?
footballer. I fancy him a bit. when he had the curtains.
It's fair play. So do I.
Matthew.
I once.
And I'm
This
just,
is
I
terrible.
don't like him.
I once had dinner with him. I went out in a group, and I must admit, at one point, I was just staring at him. I was just sat there looking at him.
I don't know if
He's a good-looking man.
ridiculously. So the first time I interviewed him for the book, I don't know if I mentioned this before. My wife has virtually no interest in the sport, and we had to go to this hotel near the Champs-Elysees. It was in his final season at Paris Saint-Germain, and my wife said, "I want to go to the interview." I said, "It'll look ridiculous. You can't come into an interview with David Beckham and just sit there in his suite in his hotel." And she said, "I'm coming."
Ooh.
So I didn't tell David, and knocked at the door. He opened up and said, "Oh, hi, Matthew. Who's this?" And she went, "Oh, I'm here to transcribe the tape." And we're there for 3 hours, and he's quite OCD, isn't he? Rearranging the pillows, bringing
But
Diet Pepsis.
he'd have believed that because last week after the show, Robbie Googled your wife. And he's nowhere to put you with her.
I did.
Is she on?
I googled your wife.
No way.
Because I've heard of stories that like you are batting above your average, which is obviously
Obviously
not
true.
hard. Yeah.
Could I bet below my average?
Yeah, and I would, you know what, you wouldn't put somebody with somebody. I wouldn't put you with your wife. She is like attractive, isn't she?
What? I'm getting heavens. I'm getting absolutely
Hey,
heavens.
she's like decent.
Whoa,
isn't
easy, Robbie, easy.
I googled her. I put Matthew Syed's wife.
Yeah.
Because you talked about it in glowing terms. I thought, wonder what she looks like. What would like the type of one you go for? But she's like,
Sometimes women find brains attractive.
yeah, is she a personality? Because she's what is it? Because let's be fair, you're not the best looking fella I've ever seen in the world. Are you?
Oh, goodness.
But she is
Yeah,
like,
well, no, we met my sister. I was in a pub in Chelsea with my sister. You two are terrible today. And I'd been single for a long time. I've been single.
I'm not surprised there, is there?
Finally, we've got some truth out of him.
Not surprised there, is it?
He was still in the rapper till he was 30. He used to have V-Reg on his car.
It's not nice, Matthew. It's not nice.
I know how you feel now.
nice, is it?
But she said, I've got a few single friends I was at university with. Would you like me to set you up? And she organised a blind date with Kathy and me. We met in London, and we bought a house together within 2 months. Just one other thing about Beckham, he was just an incredibly great host when Kathy and I were in his room.
Well, so you
in
put
his
him in
hotel.
team in case you have a dinner party. He's got to play football. You can't put someone in because they serve a nice
But
ball.
also,
once.
think about this psychologically. Psychologically, 98, he gets sent off against Argentina. He's public enemy number one. 98, 99, he wins the treble. Second in FIFA World Player of the Year. Zidane, when he was in Madrid, he said, what you don't realise about Beckham, even though he's a good player, is the desire and hunger he transmits to the rest of the team because he's at training early, he's there late. When we went to interview him in Paris, this was his final season. He was about to announce his retirement. He was there an hour early, left 2 hours late. They had to give the chef at the club a new contract because Beckham was making... His hours were having to be longer to cater for Beckham. I love that attitude. And I also think... I know a lot of people...
I'd have stayed longer if they'd have fed me.
Only man to win 4 trophies in 4 different countries.
Yeah,
only British players, isn't it?
Yeah, hell of an achievement. So my joint team, Schmeichel, Irwin, Ferdinand, Stam, Neville, Beckham, Scholes, Gerrard, Giggs, Cantona, Ronaldo.
You'll have some big players out there, mate. Keane, Cole, Vidic, Evra,
Van Nistelrooy.
Suarez,
Yeah.
Matthew. Van Nistelrooy, York. Wow. But I can't believe Beckham, for me, doesn't make my joint side there, even though he was a wonderful player. Ronaldo on the right, and I would put somebody else up front.
Okay,
I'd have Beckham in.
Would you?
Oh.
You would?
Yeah.
Really?
I watched him live once, and I didn't realise how much he run.
It's so true.
Well, yeah, I could run.
Oh, but he's...
Yeah, but he did it with ball.
Not nice, Matthew, is it? Oh, you like that, didn't you? Oh, funny that now, isn't it? Funny now, Matthew. Oh, look at you now. Woo!
By the way, don't forget, send in your suggestions. Hashtag Fred Sav Side.
5 Live Breakfast.
Simon, some parts of the country, to the exclusion of the northwest of Scotland, are going to be pretty sunny.
They are, and it's going to get pretty hot.
I've done the weather for you there.
Yeah, I'm glad you're listening, Eddie.
Cynthia's in Newcastle. Hello, Cynthia.
Hello.
Right, well, here you are on the radio, and we're all ears.
Researchers have discovered that kangaroos and wallabies are predominantly left-handed.
Which means when they're in the bank, they have to very awkwardly take the pen from the other side.
Struggle at generic golf courses as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you left-handed, Rachel, or right-handed?
No, right-handed. I'm normal.
Who's here?
Oh, well, oh.
5 Live Breakfast. Weekday mornings from 6.
This topic, I think, is really interesting.
Wow.
Gareth Bale is getting a replica of the 17th hole at Sawgrass built into his back garden. So the question we're going to debate now is what sporting replica would you build in your garden? And I know, Robbie, you've got about 27 acres. So what would you...
Oh, Freddie's already got the Olympic-sized swimming pool and the Moscone Cup in his house.
Moscone Cup pool.
Pool. Yeah, and he's got he's got a lot in his house. Nice house, Andrew.
Thank
to
you.
go with his cars.
with about 10 garages.
What would you have in your back? Go on, Matthew. You started off.
Okay, well, the things that I would love to be able to do...
In Richmond now.
Yeah,
Have you got a garden?
Tiny.
He would have Reading Leisure Centre, where he played his best games of ping pong.
How big's your back garden?
Tiny.
So you got to go to your back garden then.
Well, that might make it quite difficult. Okay, but I've got a couple of examples that might
First
fit.
and foremost, what would you have in your back garden, the size of it? But then if you had a big back garden.
Okay, well, let me start with the second one, because I think the most interesting green in golf is the 16th at Augusta. Do you remember when Tiger, the par 3, where Tiger chipped in, it's got that big slope going down to the water, and the ball trundled down, and then it hesitated on the edge, and the Nike swoosh was there in the middle of the screen, and then it dropped in. I would love to have that in my back garden. Some other ones.
You don't get fed up of cutting it.
Yeah, that would be an issue.
You
have to cut it every day, wouldn't you? It's a bit quick. What if it rained?
When I lived in
Leicester, as quick, would it?
When I lived in Leicester,
Yeah.
I had a barn, and it was a barn was in a youth picture a square.
I can do that.
Square with the a square cut in the middle. So I'm trying to explain it.
I don't know what.
So you got a square.
Yeah, you got a barn.
And you have a smaller square cut in the middle, which was the courtyard. Yeah, with a little gap in the square. What am I talking about here? This is hilarious.
What's it meant to be?
A barn, house. So my house was
I
like.
get that bit.
So my house.
Where's it going?
So listen, I'm telling you now.
We're
So
on
my-
radio. You don't.
This is a guy who won Best New Presenter at the Radio Academy Award.
So my barn was like this shape. So it was like there, with that gap
That
cut
doesn't
out.
translate on a podcast.
On the
People
camera,
driving
it
in the
does.
car,
Yeah.
they're thinking, there.
That's the explanation.
Oh, yeah, I get it now, Rob.
What
Yeah,
am
of
I-
course, yeah.
What am I trying to
Why
say?
didn't
It was a barn, and it was a square shape with a little courtyard in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a little gap where I had AstroTurf.
Right.
So basically, I had the AstroTurf, and I had a whole golf ball in my garden in Leicester.
All
Is
right.
that, is
We
that
got
the
there
whole
at the end,
story? Is that it?
Was it from a course or was it just a golf hole?
I just had the gardener cut a round bit of grass, and I bought a flag from the local golf club, and put the flag in the grass, and I just chipped balls.
It's not one of your best anecdotes, is it?
No, but it was. I'm just saying about golf balls in my
Yeah,
garden. I had one, but it wasn't any hole. It was just
What was it?
just a piece of grass with a flag.
Did you hear the question? Did you hear the question Matthew asked?
Well, not really.
What would you have? Replica.
Right, I had a
Gareth
golf-
Bale
Yeah.
has got something from Sawgrass. What would you have? Not like some random hole, which isn't really an hole. It's a piece of AstroTurf in your courtyard and you hit balls into the garden. It's nothing to do with the subject we're on about.
No, I'm just trying to elaborate on it a little bit. I did have an hole, but it was no hole.
Okay, let's park that.
It was
Did
just-
you have a set of goals as well? We had some goals, yeah. Yeah, I thought you would, yeah, but for no apparent reason.
Freddie,
I had a dartboard.
what would you do? What would you have? What replica?
What replica?
Yeah.
Tricky one. Do you know what I would genuinely love? Velodrome
Thank God you got a
in my
big
garden.
He has got a big garden.
I'll tell you what.
No, but
With
I
the-
don't mean because in my garden. I
Quite
mean,
steep slopes, aren't they?
I'm digging a hole here.
Have you ever been?
Got to park the car somewhere.
Have you ever ridden on one?
Yeah, I love it.
They're amazing.
I've been on the one in Manchester.
Yep.
I've been on one in London, but my favourite is the outdoor one in Paris. You know, when you do the Paris-Roubaix on the cobbles. I've done that route.
Have you?
And then the finale is on the outdoor velodrome, but it's a bit big for the garden. I have to scale it down, but I think that'd be brilliant to have in the garden because I like cycling.
Didn't know you'd
You'd have a velodrome in your garden of any sporting thing in the world. You'd have a velodrome.
Because I'm not just thinking that I open the curtains and wow, there's loads. But imagine the upkeep. Imagine the upkeep of loads if I got it in my garden. I couldn't do it.
But imagine.
Oh, how could you keep a velodrome?
Because it's just concrete. You just got to sweep it. You've got to cycle around it. I'd like the Ali Pali then for darts.
the hockey from Ali
Imagine
Pali
From Ali Pali.
with the music.
In your not in your garden, you have it in the house, couldn't you?
that would be pretty. Tell you another one that's interesting, sporting venue that I've been to that has a really unique atmosphere. Have you ever been to watch the snooker at the Crucible?
No, I've been to the Crucible. I watched it at Preston.
Best fans in the world, them.
That's what you said, wasn't it? All them...
That's fun.
But it's so intimate. The
You wouldn't have the
audience-
Crucible in your garden.
No, but it would be
Well,
interesting.
that's the topic.
Yeah, but you could imagine having a snooker table and then having the first row of seats. It's so close that you can almost reach over and grab the butt of the queue. It's very.
You wouldn't have the Crucible in your back garden.
No, okay. So the hockey at Alexander Palace, I actually had that as one of them.
Do you know what else I would have? Is I wouldn't have like Old Trafford or the Oval or Lords, but what I'd love is I'd go around the world. So I'd cut the wicket out of Old Trafford.
Yep.
Put it in my garden. Next to it, I'd have the wicket from the Oval.
Yeah.
Then I'd have the wicket from Bombay, or sorry, what they call it now?
Mumbai.
What about the Wankaday Stadium?
That's the one I'm alluding to from the Wankaday. And I'd have 10 different wickets from different grounds.
That's really interesting because the wickets. I was at Lords last week for a corporate event. I didn't realise how big the slope was.
Yeah, it's about 10 foot, isn't it?
Yeah, and so the wickets have got real idiosyncrasies. They're very different from each other.
Yeah, there's slope and you've got to pitch it in a different spot. But I'd have a load of different wickets from...
Yeah, I love that.
So
Love that.
Gareth Bale, the 17th Sawgrass, is the one with the water,
Yeah.
isn't it? The water with the holes in the middle of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great hole.
Is it better than the one you had at your house in Leicester?
Better than the AstroTurf.
No, I had the AstroTurf, and I had about 8 trees, molehills, long grass, and then I had the flag. What would I have in my back garden? It would be a golf hole, really. I think I'm not sure which. I like the one. Tell you what,
But
I'd have.
you've got like some golf stuff in your garden, haven't you?
Well, I got AstroTurf down.
Yeah.
I've got in my garden now. I had a putting green, AstroTurf. It used to be because the kids got older. I had you see these big outdoor play things, swings and tires and all that. Because the kids get older, I had that removed and a putting green put down in AstroTurf. Not big, so I've got 4 holes there. And in the back garden, AstroTurf now, because my back garden's on a slope. So I had the slope cut out, and I had a wall put in, and AstroTurf put down, and the goals, 2 goals. So that's. Can I just say that is the best thing I've ever done?
Ever?
To my house.
What about your children?
To my house. No, to my house.
Wedding day.
To my house. That is the best thing I've ever done because I've got 2 dogs, right? I've got 2 dogs.
They're good at putting.
No, but in the winter especially, right? In the winter, because my house is all white and grey. So in the winter, when the dogs used to go out onto the garden, if it rained, they used to come in, wipe their paws, muddy paws around the kitchen, jump on the sofa. It was the nightmare. But now with the AstroTurf, they go and wee on the AstroTurf, and they come in with clean paws. So the AstroTurf is the best thing. I'm going to go off subject a little bit.
This went somewhere I didn't expect.
Yeah, but it's brilliant. It's a great way. And the dogs wee. The girls' wee doesn't, because for females, when they wee on the grass, it doesn't dye the grass.
There's one thing about this podcast. You don't quite know where the topic's going to end up.
It's true, though.
No, there'll be people now rushing to get AstroTurf.
It's true, they've got dogs.
Anyone who's got a bitch, get some AstroTurf.
I'm telling you what, people listening to this podcast relate to exactly what I'm saying, because if you've got girl dogs and they wee, it ruins the grass. You're supposed to go out with a cup of water, and as soon as they have a wee, put the water on it, and it doesn't dye the grass.
It's a big commitment now. I don't even flush when I go. Only number 2s because we're on a water meter.
Let me throw this into the mix. That I think a lot of people listening will think that if there was one thing they could do, it would be to play sport in their most revered stadium or venue. Can you imagine what it would really be like to throw a dart on the Ocky at Alexandra Palace or to face a ball at Lord's? Now, interestingly, do you remember I mentioned I was at Lord's last week for an event, name dropping a bit here, but it was with the CEO of Microsoft. There's only been 3 CEOs in 40 years, Gates, Steve Ballmer and Satya Nadella, an amazing guy, extraordinary corporate leader. And I was talking to him about
to
this.
give you time up for nothing. For Microsoft.
But it was interesting. I mentioned he's a big cricket fan.
Oh,
Grew
hang
up
on,
in
get me a job.
Hyderabad.
I'll have a go.
He knew you. We chatted about you.
Why are you there then? The ping pong guy?
We're doing a couple of thought leadership sessions for clients of Microsoft
For free?
and one for the press.
For free?
What do you mean for free?
That's good.
Did you get paid at
You
the
get
Wembley game?
You get a free laptop.
Yeah. But I said to him, he's big into cricket. And he went out onto the field to face a couple of balls for the press. And I sort of said, I would love to be able to do that. I've been a cricket fan all my life, and I'd love to have... And he said there's something new in computation called mixed reality, where you put on goggles and it transport you to, for example, Mars. And you can feel what it would be like to walk on the surface of Mars or on the moon. And it's very high fidelity. I don't know if you saw Ronnie O'Sullivan. Google it if you haven't. When he went into a virtual reality where he fell over. He went to lean on the table. It looked so realistic. He keeled over onto the floor. And Nadella said they're getting to a stage now using quantum computing and artificial intelligence where you could actually feel what it would be like to have a googly from Shane Warne at Lord's. Yeah. And they'll start to build these things so fans can actually experience what it's like. I mean, obviously it won't be perfect, but he said it's getting to the stage where that dream could become a reality.
Yeah, I think that's been going around for years, hasn't it? Rob's lived in mixed reality all his career. He always said, looking good there, Rob, look at that with his banner.
I like that one, Matthew, again.
But I'm not into that. You either do it or you don't. Really?
You wouldn't want to experience what it would be like to be on the moon or to...
I'd like to go to the moon.
Would you?
I'd love to go to the moon, yeah. If anyone wants me to go. But I can't imagine putting a pair of goggles on and saying I'm on the moon. I don't think so.
When I started in journalism, one of the things that the Times used to ask me to do is to go and actually compete with other leading sportsmen. So I mentioned it last week, Robbie hammered me, played tennis with Becker, with Steek. I faced a ball from a top cricketer, one of the best bowlers in the world, fastest bowler in the world.
I can't remember who it was.
What was the name of the fastest bowler from Pakistan?
Shoaib.
Yeah, Shoaib Akhtar. I did a number of...
You faced the ball off him.
Do you know what? I'm not sure it was him now. It was somebody quite good. I'm trying to remember.
And he bowled at you, like 95 mile an hour.
No, it couldn't have been. It was fast, but it wasn't that fast. I also faced balls from Merlin, the machine. I've played snooker with Hendry. And it is wonderful to have a go and to experience, because you realise that the difficulty of actually competing at that level when you haven't got the background of experience, you've got no chance.
I threw a dart at the Lakeside for Sport Relief. I played a game at Sport Relief, the dart at the Lakeside, which was great. That completely different from the Ali Pali kind of darts. I would have going back to it, the thing I would have in my back garden is I like the hole at the Belfry. Is it the...
We can play that anytime you want.
Yeah, okay.
We're in Birmingham. And we know the manager. Tell you what, Rob. We played it the other week.
He did.
Just phone James up. James, can we come and play this all again? The 10th?
Yeah, the 10th.
It's an hour away. You're not going to waste all that money putting it in your garden.
But you had the velodrome. That wasn't really a great thing, is it? The velodrome.
This last bit on this, though. What is the most incredible, just transition into what's the most amazing home or house that you've ever been to? Probably yours is going to Freddie's place, is it?
I would say, do you know what the thing, every time, Matthew, this might sound surreal, but my house, listen, it's not my house. It's not my house. I've got to say it's his house, Freddie's house.
Oh, stop it.
No, it is. It is. His house is unbelievable. Not because he's bragging, not because it is for him and for his wife and for his kids. As a kid's house, if you've got a family or if you're young, but seriously, it's the most amazing house I've ever been to.
When I sell it, can I quote this on Rightmove?
Yeah. Is it on the market now, Fred? I don't know
it will be in a minute.
Yeah, if it's on the market, have a look at it because it's an unbelievable house. But the way I look at it, every time, Matthew, I pull up at my house, I can't believe it. I'm not saying it's a great house, but it's my house, it's my family's house. And every time I go in through the front door, it's true. I can't believe it's my house. And I'm so proud of it. Every time my mum comes to my house, she cries. She said, I can't believe what you've achieved. And
because she's seeing you.
Honestly, mate, every time I go up my drive, sometimes I think, I can't believe this is my house. What have I done to deserve this? It's like, wow, my house is like, it's not a big house. It's not, it's just my house and it's my family's house. And every time I go in, I think, wow, how lucky am I?
What's the best you've ever been into?
House Robbie's. The Queen's.
Buckingham Palace.
Oh, the
Queen's house.
Of course.
Went there and you know what? I didn't.
Were you intimidated meeting her?
I didn't think I would be, and I didn't think this sounds terrible, but it really shouldn't. I didn't think I'd be as bothered as I was.
Yeah.
And then you get in there, and then you see it all, and you think, well, man, this is Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
And you see all the rooms and the walls, and then she comes in, and although she's only small, she's got this massive aura about her. And
well, she's the Queen.
Yes, she is, but I can't explain what it was like. I'm not like a massive royalist or anything like that, but whilst I was there, I was just in awe of her.
Yeah, you went through into the back, up the long staircase.
Have you met her, Matthew?
Yeah, twice, I think, 3 times maybe.
I've got
to tell you, the time that I met her that was really interesting was after the Olympic Games in Sydney, where Team GB went and met the Duke of Edinburgh and some of the others. The Queen. Who?
Did your missus go?
No, I hadn't met her by that stage. I only met her in 2009. It was amazing how open she was. And a friend of mine, Don Parker, I was with him.
I saw him 2 weeks ago.
He told me he'd seen you.
Yeah, Don Parker table tennis.
At the outside the.
His daughter was a table tennis player, and she ruined my table tennis career because she beat me when she was 8, and I was about 14.
Yeah. And he was reminding me of, we were talking about all the prime ministers that she had interacted with. I mean, she was Queen when Winston Churchill was Prime Minister. Been through all of them.
It was
the Queen. And all of them, from Thatcher and Blair and Cameron and Edward Heath and Harold Wilson, and she's seen it all. And she was really open about the Prime Minister, because I was standing for Parliament at the time in Wokingham for Labour, and we had an amazing chat. It's an extraordinary place. What about the worst place you've ever been?
So what's the best house you've been to?
Well, I've been at Buckingham Palace. I hadn't thought of that when Fred mentioned it. I've also
it's not an house, is it?
Well, I've also been to a billionaire.
What?
She lives there.
It's not an house, is it?
Palace.
It's not an house.
Yours is a mansion.
Mate, it's not a mansion. It's not an house, is it? Buckingham Palace is not a house. Oh, look, when you go past it, say, look at that house.
It's a lovely house.
You don't, when you're driving in London and you're in a black car, when you're going down the mall, you don't think, oh, look at that house.
Okay, let me give you one then. I once went to one of the richest guys in Britain has a home on Kensington Palace Gardens, where a lot of the embassies are. And I was there. He had donated to a charity that I'm involved with, and going in there was absolutely incredible. The home, he had a table tennis table in a sort of, not a shed, but a very nice shed in his back garden. And it's not a shed.
You went in the best house in London, and he had a shed
let
in his
me rephrase
garden.
Oh, nobody had a table tennis table in it. Oh, my neck.
I went to the best house in London, Fred. He had a shed with a table tennis.
Had like had a room, beautiful room with a table tennis table in. But yeah, that was an absolutely extraordinary.
I've got a table tennis table in my garage.
Have you?
Yeah, yeah. You can't beat a table tennis table in the house somewhere.
If you can't beat it.
You can't.
You can't if you fold it up sideways. It always wins.
It always comes back. Okay, so just to rewind to the first bit of this second topic, what is going to be the replica, the one and only that you can have, Fred?
Velodrome.
Robbie?
Outdoor.
I would have the French Open Centre Court, the Philippe Chatrier.
Excuse me?
What's it called?
Leroy Rossenoir.
Philippe Chatrier? What's he called?
Who?
Chatrier.
I'd have the Philippe Chatrier court in the Mike Back Garden, the clay court. Because in this country, Fred, rain, damage it. Clay, Paris, play all the time.
And I'm going for the 16th green at the Augusta National. Enjoyed that, lads. Thank you. And thank you for listening. You can download the podcast for extended versions of all the topics we covered on this week's show at the 5 Live website and all the usual podcast places. The whole of the first series is also available to download. Please use the hashtag FredSavSide to get in touch through the week and post your ideas about the mixed teams that we discussed earlier for sure. We'd love to read those. If you could leave a review on iTunes and give us a rating, that would be great. We'll be back next week at the same time. But for now, from all of us, goodbye.